Okay, you need to have your Go Math book out and you need to turn to page 189. Today we're going to work on estimating decimal sums and differences, which means we're going to estimate when we add and we're going to estimate when we subtract. Now, it's really important that when we go through this, you are looking at what type of problem it is. Is it an adding problem or a subtracting problem? This is my second video because on the problem down here, I added instead of subtracted. So I had to redo the whole video because of that. So as you go through, you need to double check to make sure that you are subtracting when you're supposed to be subtracting and adding when you're supposed to be adding. So look at the operation to make sure you're doing the correct thing. So let's take a look at the first problem. A singer is recording a CD. The lengths of the time of the songs are 3 and 4/10 minutes, 2 and 78 hundredths minutes, and 4 and 19 hundredths minutes. So 4.19, 2.78, and 3.4. We're going to use rounding to estimate. So we're going to round to the nearest whole number. All right, so that means we're going to be looking at the ones place to round to, which means we have to come to the tenths place to look at whether or not we go up or whether or not we stay the same. So if our number in the tenths column is 1, 2, 3, or 4, then our number is going to stay the same. And if our number is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then our number is going to go up 1. All right? So 3.4. We look at 4 in the tenths column, and that is going to tell us that the 3 stays the same. So as you can see, they've written a 3 there. When we go down to look at 2.78, we look at the 7, and that 7 is higher than 5, greater than 5. So this will round up to 3. So we'll write a little 3 there. And then 4.19, we look at the 1 in the tenths column, and that tells us that this number will stay the same because 1 is less than 5, and our whole number is 4. So then we're going to add these together, and when we add these together, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So there will be about 10 minutes of recordings on the CD. Now, is it exact? No, this is an estimate. All right. So let's go ahead and round the next problem. Now, this is the problem where the first video I added instead of subtracting. So always look at the operation. We are subtracting here. When you're rounding, it doesn't really matter. It's just once you subtract, then once you get to the point where you're either adding or subtracting to find your final answer, that you need to pay attention to that operation. So we're going to round to the nearest whole dollar. So once again, we're going to be looking at the tenths place to tell us what we need to do. So 27.95, that 9 is larger than 5, so that means we're going to round up. So 1 more than 27 is 28. And then 11.72, we are going to once again look at the 7 in the tenths column, and that's greater than 5, so we will round up 11 to 12 because we're rounding to the nearest whole dollar. And then this is a subtraction problem. So we need to subtract. So 8 minus 2 is 6, and 2 minus 1 is 16. So they're $27.95 minus $11.72 is about $16. All right. Now the next one says we're going to round to the nearest $10. So that means we're rounding to the nearest 10 in the tens column. All right. So we're going to be rounding so that we have a digit and then 0, 0, 0. So 27.95, we rounded up to 28 because the 9 told us to round this to an 8. We're going to look at the 7 here, and that is going to tell us to round this 2 up to a 3. So we have $30. And then we're going to round to the nearest $10, which means we're either going to round to $20 or we're going to round to $10. So we're going to look at the 11, and the 11 in the 1 in the tens column, or the ones column, tells us that we're going to keep this 1 in the tens column the same. So we're going to, $11 is closer to $10 than it is to $20. So we are going to subtract 30 minus 20. 30 minus 10 is 20. All right. And that would be about $20. Now, use the appropriate tools. Do you want to overestimate or underestimate when you estimate the total cost of items you want to buy? Explain. So go ahead and pause your video and write down what you think there. Do you want to overestimate? Do you want to estimate it's going to cost more than what you have? Or do you want to underestimate when you are buying something? All right, you should have already written your answer. And your answer really should be that you want to overestimate. When you go through a store and you're buying things, you want to round up because you want to make sure that when you get to the checkout that you have enough cash to pay for it, or you have enough money in your checking account to pay for it if you're using a debit card. So you want to make sure that there's enough money there and that you kind of pay attention to tax. If you round up, you kind of got that tax covered. So it is better to round up when we're trying to buy things. All right, go ahead, and if you haven't finished that, finish whatever you need to finish, and then go ahead and turn to page 189, and we will do that in the next video.